Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming on behalf of Jamie's family. My name is Jen Heron, or as Jamie's family still likes to call me, Jenny Sorum. I have known Jamie and her family since 1988 through her sister Erica, who would take me away from the big city to hang out in Plainview. I will never forget the first time that I met the family. Specifically, Jamie's introduction by her mom, Teresa, who said, "This is Jamie. She's going to be a nun." Everyone laughed. So I assumed that this beautiful 10-year-old girl was in no way a lover of the spiritual life. Little did I know. As time went on, I began to grow closer to my new small-town family, and by the time I was in college, I was taking road trips to Plainview without Erica, always welcomed by Jamie and Bryn to sleep with them in what Jamie affectionately named the neighborhood king-size bed. Calm down, everyone, it's not like that. I just think back to those nights so long ago when Erica, Jamie, Bryn, and I would squish together in that neighborhood king. It's kind of weird, but then kind of not, if you know this family. The hospitality and authenticity, and even the weirdness that is this family, Jim, Teresa, Erica, Ian, Jamie, Bryn, and Seth, is unmatched, and I'm honored to know and love them all. Also, as time went on, I began to develop a spiritual relationship with this non-nun named Jamie. I believe it began when we stopped to visit the cemetery on our way from Plainview to Elba. Jamie was maybe 11 years old, and we were walking through the cemetery looking at the headstones. I look over, and here is Jamie dancing and twirling across the graves. Having been taught to walk around grave sites out of respect for the deceased, I immediately reacted and told her to stop being disrespectful to the dead. She stopped and turned, looked at me with that classic Jamie, "Who the hell are you?" face. And for a brief moment, when our eyes met, I thought she might actually consider my request. Nope. During another twirl that made her long brown hair fly across her face, she told me that she respects the dead very much, and she kept dancing. Dancing. This is what many of Jamie's loved ones remember about her. Reading through the comments on Facebook and Caring Bridge, memories of a dancing Jamie have dominated the posts. She danced with many of you. She danced alone. And from the depth of my soul, I believe that she is still dancing. Some of you might be wondering why I was chosen to share a message with you today. Honestly, I was a bit surprised myself when Bryn called me a couple of months ago asking if I would honor Jamie's request to speak at her memorial service. Me? Why me? Certainly there are other people closer to Jamie or more qualified for the task. Not hearing any of it, Bryn told me that Jamie has always admired our conversations about God, and because I've known her for so long, there is no one else that she would want to have speak on behalf of her spiritual being. A little background of what could qualify me to stand up here today is that I've just completed 4 years at Luther Seminary, graduating with a master's degree in theology. God is my jam. And if there's one thing that I have learned in my concentrated studies is that God is with you and for you, no matter what you do or what you believe. Despite her resistance to join the convent, Jamie had a deep sense of spirituality and respect for God. Sure, she was not the one you would see sitting in church on a Sunday morning, but Jamie was what is considered to be spiritual but not religious. This very common type of person believes in God, but is not necessarily bound to any creed or doctrine. Coincidentally, there is another name for the spiritual but not religious group. They are called the nuns. N-O-N-E, not N-U-N. This category was established after 2012 research study of religion, asking participants to indicate their religious affiliation, offering everything from the vast list of religious to agnostic to atheist, and the option for none of the above. Surprisingly, most of the respondents identified as none of the above, meaning they have no religious affiliation, hence the name nuns. Yet they all indicated they have a belief in God. To me, this sounds like Jaime, and perhaps Teresa is a prophet. Most of you know that from the time God created Jaime with her 2 different colored eyes, she has always been unique. And Jaime was always proud to have this uniqueness about herself, as stated in a blog-style autobiography she wrote entitled, "In My Own Words." She shares, "My eyes are 2 different colors. This mutation is also referred to as dichromatic, or DIC, as it is abbreviated on my driver's license. I open with this tidbit because it has always been my go-to answer at first day, get to know each other, name something unique about yourself roundtables." Jaime goes on to describe herself saying, "I am an easygoing, happy-go-lucky kind of gal. I like to keep myself occupied with projects such as writing, drawing, painting, or anything else that helps me hone my creative energy. I'd like to pause here to focus on Jaime's creativity. I invite you to think about it too. Each one of us can recall something that Jaime created, whether it be through words, thoughts, music, art, motion, or cosmetology. Jaime had a gift for making things beautiful." Jaime continues her self-reflection by writing, "I've found that cleaning, organizing, and cooking and baking can also serve as creative outlets, but are most satisfying when accompanied by an NPR as sort of a soundtrack. My curious nature has helped me to obtain a plethora of information to expound and wander upon. Sure, some say an excess of information must surely contain that which is useless. But I say no information is useless, as if it is recalled, it has at the very least provoked brain cells to remember it. And anything that gets the brain a working ain't useless." Wow, Jaime was so freaking smart. Seriously, I had to reread these sentences a few times to understand what she was saying. Jaime's curious intellect was not limited to household chores or an NPR report. She was constantly wondering about huge topics like science, nature, anatomy, theology, and spirituality. The last day I spent with her 2 weeks before she died was filled with conversations regarding this topic. She had a stack of books in her hospital room. The one that caught my eye was entitled Conversations with God. When I asked her about it, she said, "I'm just curious." Jaime concludes the paragraph by seeing her curious nature through the lens of relationships. She claims, "Mostly, though, it's helped me to seem interesting, enough so to trick others into joining me in what have become some terrific conversations, sometimes even leading to lifelong friendships, where additional interesting and terrific conversations are shared." And this is why we are here today. Because of Jaime, this interesting, beautiful, stubborn, respectful, unique, dichromatic, creative, brilliant, curious, spiritual nun who has touched each of our lives with her gorgeous smile, terrific conversations, and lifelong friendship. Please pray with me. God of grace, thank you for your gift of Jaime. Even though she is gone far too soon, we are grateful for the time we shared with her. God of comfort, please bring comfort to all of Jaime's family and loved ones as we learn to live without her physical presence in our lives. God of love, help us to know Jaime's beautiful spirit as she continues to dance and twirl over death, smiling and laughing as she did in life. Amen.
me your questions. Oh, let's go back to the start. Running in circles, coming up tails, heads on a science apart. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. No one ever said it would be this hard. Oh, take me back to the start. I was just guessing numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. Questions of science, science in progress, do not speak as loud as my heart. Tell me you love me, come back and haunt me, oh, and I rush to the start. Running in circles, chasing our tails, coming back as we are. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. No one ever said it would be this hard. I'm going back to the start.
Hi, I'm Erin. I've never done this before. I realized recently that obviously spoken in public. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Despite the one radiant smile missing from our sight, belonging to a gal who would have had so much fun today, it's really nice to see all of you. There's a lot of you. I figured there would be, probably needless to say, but that thought has had me feeling mildly terrified. Well, that and attempting to honor such a bright soul, amidst all of you who loved her so much. Please forgive me if I screw this up. I'm still trying to sort out why Jaime asked me to speak at this celebration, when it certainly seems any measure of you could have. Some of the last words she said to me were her laughingly telling me it was fine if I'd rather simply write some words on a piece of paper and throw them into the fire with her. However, we all know the tenacious way Jaime approached life, and one of the most fitting manners of celebrating her is to do the same. As many of us did, I had the privilege of spending time with Jaime at the hospital during her final days. Shortly after I arrived, she asked me to read to her from a book containing some ideas important to her. I started at the beginning, reading a few pages regarding the ineffectiveness of our modern language at conveying our truth. It launched a quick exchange of words between us, Jaime lying in her hospital bed on Good Friday, mentioning the language of the Mandarin Chinese, how the tone of certain languages is more representative and expressive, more symbolic of an actual unspoken thought. I've since been considering this notion and still haven't quite been able to pinpoint it, but I feel like there's something in this sense Jaime wanted transmitted to those of us left living. That there are less tangible forms than our standard spoken and written words, facial expressions, and so on, in which we rely on for communication.
Maybe, excuse me for sounding so illogical, or one could say insane, maybe if we can broaden our own inner perceptions, we can find a means of connecting with loved ones who departed our earthbound realm. Or who knows, maybe we completely cease to exist after we die. I'd like to think it's the former. If we can open ourselves to that lunacy, it seems even more possible we can break down the wall. Yes, I listened to the wall while writing part of this, something I understand Jaime did frequently during a younger phase in her life. Put down the shield, so to speak. We can all relate to one another on a more elemental level, something Jaime clearly had an innate understanding of, even in her youth. Reading those extensive online tributes in the few days preceding and following her death, the common thread, well, besides her electric smile and whimsical humor, and her dancing, was how, upon meeting, nearly everyone instantly felt connected to her. Jaime had an incredibly welcoming spirit and a special sensitivity to those in need of that acceptance. I don't claim to be enlightened on matters of the afterlife. None of us know. We can only imagine. However, for most of my life, I've struggled with the thought that all of the energy we possess, each incident in our brains, and each second of all the trillions of seconds most of us are alive, that it simply stops and becomes nothing when our hearts stop beating, especially in essence so vibrant, funny, generous, and youthful as Jaime's. I just haven't been able to shake the feeling that she's not entirely gone. I know a number of you have felt and seen her little messages of love from above. Plenty of birds, and even more bird poop, enchanted glimpses of distant places, a recipe, soothing springtime sunsets, rainbows, a song, sailing into the superior sunrise, a dream of renewal, an unlikely kaleidoscope of prismatic color in the dead of night. Yet above all, it's evident in Jaime's sweet 7-year-old son, Jameson. To quote his proud mama, my perfect little 2-year-old offspring. He embodies his mother's unique, courageous, keen, playful way of approaching the world. Anyway, enough with all my yada yada yada. That Seinfeld reference was intentional, by the way, long story. I'm almost done. I'll leave you hopefully with a laugh from Jaime and a handful of her own insightful words. Don't feel bad if you don't laugh at my retelling. It was funny when Jaime said it, though. The morning before I arrived for my last visit with Jay, she'd experienced severe pain. So bad she'd blocked it from her consciousness by the afternoon when I got there. A while later, it was clear her sense of humor was still intact as one of her nurses, a younger fella, cute guy, a little awkward, aren't we all, asked if she remembered poking him that morning. Jaime asked, "I poked you, did you like it?" He laughingly was all, no, I meant like a Facebook poke, where I'd have to poke you back, so I owe you a poke. Jay's response was classic her, "Well, I'll be looking forward to it." And then there's this, a message she sent me during an early morning when she was having trouble sleeping. It's from November 11th, 2010, 2 years and 1 month after the birth of her only child, 2 days before the birth of my youngest child, 1 month before her 32nd birthday, and 11 months prior to her initial breast cancer diagnosis. Keep in mind, according to her circadian rhythm was off as a result of daylight savings time. Also, I did ask permission of Bryn to quote Jaime's words. Looking back, it's almost as if she knew something life-altering was taking hold inside of her body. As humans, we have to face our free will. It is the catalyst for the perpetuation of our understanding of yin and yang. The balance will forever balance. With that, we have no choice, yet free will gives us the illusion of control. To be God. I am not religious, but I religiously pray. I am happy to be alive, and I love all of the spirits I have encountered in this life. The energy The energy that does surround me is the lifeblood of my own blood. We are who we know, and it's important to love, not fear. Be confident, yet humble. And with that, allow everything into our beings, yet be wise enough to discern between the positive and negative, and flourish that which will enhance our spirit and contribute to our enlightenment on this plane of consciousness. The end.
In my bed, I hear the clock ticking. Think of you, turning in circles. Confusion is nothing new. Flashback to warm nights, almost left behind. Suitcase of memories. Time after some time, you're calling to me. I can't hear what you say. You say go slow. I fall behind. The second hand unwinds. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I will be waiting. Time after time. Time after time. After your picture fades and darkness has turned to gray, watching through windows, I'm wondering if you're okay. Then you say go slow. I fall behind. The drum beats out of time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I will be waiting. Time after time. Time after time. Time after time. Time after time. Time after time.
If I would share some of the things that I had written. Anyone who's ever read my Facebook post knows it's not a short thing. I tend to just type fast. I first met Jaime and Brent when I was working at Shopco. It was my first job, and incidentally, I started there because my own sister had worked there. And as a little sister, I was always following my older sisters, trying to be like them, trying to be their friend, trying to belong to them. So I was immediately fascinated by these two girls, these two sisters who were best friends and did everything together. Obviously, we've all moved on, life's changed. We got new jobs, moved to new cities, got married, had kids. In fact, our lives changed so much that our intersections stopped becoming physical places, things like the break room or the aisle between soft lines and hard lines, and they become more virtual realms. Instagram, Facebook, Caring Bridge, Snapchat, etc. And over the past, it feels like 100 years that I've been following Jaime and Bryn's journey as Jaime's fought cancer. And I'm struck time and time again by the tenacity with which they fought for the most fundamental right, which was the right to live. Like all of you, I rooted during the highs, I hoped during the lows, and I mourned the last showdown. When I don't know what to do, I turn to others who've been through it. I draw inspiration from poets, scripture, musicians, revolutionaries, saints and sinners alike, because I find strength in numbers and strength in camaraderie. Elizabeth Bishop is one of my favorite poets. She eloquently describes her feelings in a poem called One Art, and she says, "The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day. Except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent, the art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel, none of these will bring disaster. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster, some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster." And then she goes to talk about losing you. And at the end of her poem, her struggle to accept the loss, she owns that the loss of you is in fact hard to master. In fact, you can lose the world a million times over. Floods and hurricanes and other things might ruin your life as you know it. But nothing will compare to losing a dear one, a mother, a daughter, a soulmate, a sister. How do you even begin to overcome such a loss? It starts 2 by 2. Breathe. Left foot, right foot, breathe. It starts in the memories. When I think of Jaime, I think of resilience and courage. And I think of what it took every day to wake up and fight a battle, and to keep battling it, even when it seems like there were nothing but obstacles. When I think of Jaime, I automatically think of Bryn and their incredible bond of sisterhood. I think of her radiant smile. I think of her ridiculous beauty. She was the kind of person you would envy and want to hate, except she was so damn nice. And she was fun, too. The kind of fun you want to be around. The kind you just naturally gravitate towards. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. Most have weapons, armor. Jaime didn't have any of these advantages. She had to be her hero the old-fashioned way. No sword, no shield, no fairy godmother, and no Olympic gods behind her. And for me, that's the most devastating part of this whole thing. When measuring who deserves to win against cancer, it should have been Jaime, hands down. In the end, all you can do is love big and love well. That's what she did. She still does, as evidenced by all the rainbows captured after her death. That she loves big and well is a testament to her commitment to the people that make up her village. May we all draw strength from the light she puts out, and may your radiance be enough to keep the sorrow at bay. Despite some things' predilection for loss, despite our practice and our attempts to lose things and in order to prepare for bigger losses, broken hearts, lost friendships, etc., in the end, nothing. No one is truly lost when you keep them in your heart. Refugees, pioneers, nomads, gypsies, they all share stories and folklore about carrying soil from their homeland, seeds from gardens abandoned. Less tangible, but perhaps more important, are the soils of our soul, and where and how we plant those seeds of memory. And when I reflect on these stories, I think about our own seeds, a marriage, a friendship, a sisterhood, children. Mumford and Sons so eloquently saying, "Where you invest your love, you invest your life." Who embodied that more than Jaime, and in turn, her family? When I think of the years of hardship that would have torn so many other families apart, but instead brought you all so much closer together, I'm inspired and hopeful for the possibilities that live in all of us. When she was in her final days of suffering, I offered this prayer. May she be granted mercy from suffering as she heads to her next fun place. May God grant compassion and give her a window seat so that she can still radiate to those she so deeply cares for, to give them comfort. May all the world know that she is someone treasured beyond measure by her village of people. May they know that she is of infinite worth, that her journey isn't over, but she is just on a different path. And may her transition be filled with love, light, and peace. Ella Montgomery once said, "I'm so glad I live in a world of Octobers." I'd like to use creative license and say, I'm so glad that I got to live in a world of Heezers. I'd like to thank Bryn for asking me to share today, and for her continuous commitment to updating us on Jaime's process. Between her and Adam working so hard to share Jaime's story on Facebook and Caring Bridge, we all felt like we took part of that journey with her. whether we were able to come to the hospital or whether we were championing her from miles afar. And to all of the Heiser family, thank you for sharing your sister, your daughter, your cousin with all of us. I'd like to thank God for giving Jamie Jameson, and I'd like to thank God for giving us Jamie. May we pay it forward by living like Jamie, loving life, loving each other, and facing each day with courage, resilience, and radiance. I was going to be really smart and pull out my phone and quote a scripture, but there's no service, so I'm going to paraphrase. In 2009, I had the misfortune of, it seemed every month that someone in my family passed away, and the same pastor or priest would talk about the scripture about how I prepared many rooms for you. And as I think about the struggle that Jamie's gone through, I think about how her room must be palatial. How she must have the best room prepared by God, and how she's saving room next to her room for all of us. And I would like to close by quoting ever so coolly the immortal words of the Beatles. And when at last I find you, your song will fill the air. Sing it loud so I can hear you. Make it easy to be near you. For the things you do endear you to me. Thank you.
I can hear myself, so I'm guessing you can hear me. Well, hi, I'm Jen Zadell from Colorado. And I don't call Jamie Jamie, I call her Jaime. That's how I know her. So when I met her, that's what she called herself. So she's Jaime to me. So when I say that, just wanted to explain that. So I met Jaime in September of 2000 in Fort Collins, Colorado, where I'm from, at my family's home cleaning business called Mary Maids. When I first saw Jaime, I remember thinking how beautiful and put together she was. Her makeup was perfect, her clothes were unique, but very stylish, of course, and her smile was gorgeous. The even better part was that her personality was just as beautiful. I got to know her very quickly because it turned out that we had a lot in common. It didn't take very long before I realized how smart and special that she was. So after a couple of months I was ready to promote her to an administrative position and work alongside myself and my dad in our business. I remember the day I went to ask her if she would be interested about that. That started a long and wonderful relationship between us, and soon we were inseparable and would hang out almost every single day. We spent hours listening to music and talking over drinks. Our favorite thing to do was to go sing karaoke at the White Buffalo in Loveland or Pitchers in Fort Collins. We would go at least once a week, and Bren and my sister Kelly were usually with us too. And we would all have just the best time. It was so fun. She was always definitely the life of the party, as everyone knows. Jaime was just so very special to me. We had a bond that never can be replaced by anyone. She always made me happy, and I'm so lucky to have had her in my life. She changed and helped our family business, and for that we are all so grateful. I am so thankful also that I was able to visit her in Duluth in January as well. I will always cherish the wonderful memories we shared, and I will never forget her. I love her. Thank you.
I like mics, but I don't like that. All this technical stuff.
We can't hear you, Jim. Come
Tom,
on.
you can talk about that. My brother, he hates technical stuff. He worked at IBM too. Anyway, my name is Jim, and I'm the lucky father of a bunch of kids. And I can't name them all right now because you don't have the time to listen. But anyway, the point is, they're all wonderful, and if you know any of them, you'll know that they're wonderful, so that's it. But I wanted to carry on with what Janet said about Jaime. Jaime was named Jaime when she was a baby, and that is a Persian name meaning flower, and here I go. I am here to be in situations. Anyway, so I used to call her Jaime Petite because she was just little, and she'd wear all these fancy clothes because she couldn't stand not looking good. She'd throw a fit, and everybody would have to hustle around. Poor Bryn. She'd end up with something out of the clothes basket that was dirty, probably. Sorry, Teresa, it wasn't really that way, but anyway, Bryn and Ian, they suffered because they had to, give up their clothes for Jaime. And she was like that. She was a bald little kid. She was bald for about 2 years. First 2 years she was bald. But cute. Thank you. She always got by because she was cute. And she'd dance and she'd say funny things. She started talking when she was about 8 or 9 months. And she never quit. But it was always good stuff. And we had so many good discussions about various things. And a lot of them involved the creation, the universe, what we've seen, all of us have seen. The creation of God knows what, and he's the only one, or she's the only one who does know what. But it's all part of us. And that was what Jaime Petite was trying to tell everybody. This is all of us. The Creator is with all of us and in all of us. And you can cry if you want, or you can laugh or dance. Dancing on the graves. I know my mom and dad, they loved her dancing on their graves. She and Bryn used to put pin curls in my dad. He was like 89 years old or so. He still had hair, contrary to my situation, but they'd sit there all night long. They'd be putting pin curls in his hair and everything, and he'd be trying to watch Johnny Carson or something, and they'd just keep working on him. And he'd leave it in until they left and went to bed, and then he'd, kind of finally get it pulled out. But so that was our situation, and we're so happy that all of our family and friends came, and now that the sun is shining, we can have a good time. And we will feed you, but you got to wait a little longer because there's still some more people who want to talk. So just hang on, we're all big enough, we can make it.
Thought I'd be able to hold together for just like 30 seconds here. Anyhow, I'm Ian, Jamie's oldest brother. I see a lot of familiar faces here. People I haven't seen in 20 years, big plus yet. Thank you so much for making it today. It's kind of cold, especially when the sun comes out, I guess. But anyhow, I was thinking back about Jamie and I when we were growing up together, and memories when we were little kids always come back to me, and it's the same memories over and over again. And it was probably, I don't know, can you guys hear me blubbering around up here? Anyhow, Jamie couldn't have been any older than about 3 or so, and I was 5 because we were living in Blaine still, and I still remember making mud pies in the backyard with her, and we'd stack them on top of this little pink semi, and we didn't try to make them out to be anything special. We just called them mud pies, We didn't have the imagination to turn them into anything else but mud pies, I guess. And time moving forward, I remember Jamie with her funny personality. She'd get irritated or whatever, and I suppose she was probably about 6 or 7, and we'd moved on to the farm by then, and she was upset with somebody for some reason, and so she took one of those sticks, and she took a red and white handkerchief and tied it up to the end of that stick and filled it full of clothes and stuff, and she'd go marching up the driveway because she was going to run away from home with that stick over her shoulder. I always thought that was so funny. I thought, you can't live for very long with that Kleenex full of stuff back there, you know. But, years went by and everything, and Jamie was diagnosed. I'm going to try to not end this on a really sad note here, but Jamie was always a lot tougher than me. And, I literally get, food poisoning and I think I'm going to die. And she went on for 4.5 years, and she just fought and fought. She's so strong. And I'd say, I'm so sorry that you're going through this, Jamie. She'd just say, don't worry, brother. It was almost like she was trying to comfort me. So anyways, after Jamie was diagnosed one day, I hadn't seen her. I probably hadn't seen her in a few months, and she was standing outside the hospital. I barely recognized her because she was swollen up so much from all the drugs and steroids that they'd given her. Don't worry, it's not going to get too much worse than this. And I went and picked her up, and she was kind of dancing around, making fun of the way she was looking because she couldn't just go around, couldn't move around so well. And she said, let's get the heck out of here. And we drove over to the casino, and it's the only time that she really came clean with me and about her feelings with the deal. And she had a rough meeting with the doctor that day. And she grabbed onto my arm, and she definitely wasn't going to do this. And she held onto my hand, which wasn't nice because she wasn't really affectionate that way very often. But she told me that I'm scared, and that was 3.5 years ago. She made it 3.5 years longer than that. So she just kept on fighting, so she got to live longer than could have been expected. Anyhow, I want to say something really uplifting other than I really hope that she's not feeling that pain anymore. And I hope she's feeling awesome and looking down on all of us. And I guess I just hope she's not going through pain anymore. Thank you guys for coming. That's all I got.
So I'm Sarah, and I've been friends with Jamie as long as I can remember. We actually met at church camp, Pioneer Camp, when we were 10. So that was about 15 years ago, right, Bryn? And it was every year we would meet back at this Pioneer Camp in Wabasha. And I remember the first time I met Jamie, Bryn was right next to her. And her spirit just was so radiant. And Bryn, of course, was right next to her. And they were connected at the hip, which they've always been. And they made me feel so right at home the second that I met them. And I just remember meeting her and just being mesmerized, taken by her spirit and who she was. So beautiful and just radiant inside and out. And the most significant, amazing memories of my life I spent with Jamie. Aside from having my children, they're the most amazing memories they'll ever have. Her family, her mom, Teresa, her dad, Jim, Ian, Bryn, Seth, Erica. I've never seen a more amazing, dedicated, loving, warm family. She loved you guys more than anything in this world. Next to being a mother, when she had you, Jameson, the most beautiful little boy with those beautiful blue eyes, was the most amazing day of her life. The best thing that ever happened to Jaime was becoming your mom. Every day, your mom will be with you. Every morning that you wake up, you'll feel her. Every night when you go to bed, you'll be able to hear her. Just you and her, your own special thing. Your mom was so lit up the day that she had you. She was just gleaming with joy. You meant the world to her, and she will always, always be with you. And I want you to know that you have all of us who are here and who love you so much. Okay? All right. Thumbs up, buddy. And I just want to thank, again, the family so much for raising the most beautiful, amazing daughter who means more to me than I could ever express to any of you, and who has taught me more than I could ever even just share. She just has been and will always be my sister. And through her, you guys will always be my family. I love you so much, and I'm just so proud to be a part of you. And I want to say, Bryn, special, special Bryn, you and Jaime, like I said, have always been connected at the hip. And she's always been your big sister, and she's always adored you and looked out for you. And as well as Jameson, I want you to know that we will always be here for you, and we will always look out for you, and Jaime will always be with you. Thank you.
I'm Dan Bowe. I'm Amy's uncle, Reese's brother. I'm just hearing all the great things being said about her. I got a story that I remember growing up watching the Heezers grow up these kids and hanging out with them. Jamie, the fashion queen, that we all know she was, and growing up, I can still remember all the clothes that Jim alluded to, and the makeups, everything else she had. It was 1982 when she was, I believe, probably 4 years old. And I had been in a movie with a girlfriend in Mankato. Stopped in Waterville at my folks' house. On the way home, I was going to announce to my parents, I'm going to be a little late, I'm going to take Beth home. Jamie was sitting in my mom's lap. And all of a sudden, she flies off, and I said, with Beth. She runs down the hallway, and Beth is standing in the back door. It's cold out, so she was just waiting for me. And I look back, and I look at Jamie, and she's standing there, classic little girl now. She's doing one of these, giving a critique to Beth. And I was standing, it was just so cute, I knew what she was doing. So she turns around, she runs back down the hallway, walks in there and announces, Danny's girlfriend's standing back there, but she's wearing ugly mittens. And my mom, I could still see my mom put her hand over her mouth, you know, and laughing, but this little girl was so serious. I made the mistake that time of telling my girlfriend on the way home what she said. And so I heard the whole way home, what's wrong with my mittens? Why wouldn't she like my mittens? And it's only a little 4-year-old girl, but no, Jamie was quite the piece of work, an amazing girl. Friends of mine from work are here, family, the extended family from Waseca, the Brottons. And one thing I was amazed in the last few years when she was living in Waseca, her and I would have small conversations, and she was always this upbeat. 2 months ago, she was making salmon one day before work, and smiling, laughing, anything you would say to her, she'd always want to make light of it and have fun with it. To coin a phrase I used to tell people, they'd ask how she's doing, and I'd say, she's a Timex. You know, she takes a licking and just keeps on ticking, and she always did, and that's about the best way I could describe her. Just an amazing girl. We're going to miss her. Thank you.